I'm going to do the recap of episode 8 of Bar Your Love. And it started off with um, Sha and Ping couldn't find these pearl earrings, I think it was. And so, Sha, when Sha and Ping fell, she picked them up. And Sha Shi Lee, her sister for life, was going to help her, but Jala Shah had to step in and said, no, you need to do this and that to look pretty for tomorrow because I don't want to do this much edit. And, Sha Pink's like, that's okay, you go. And she's out for looking. And so so Sha Shi Lee, the sister for life, and Jila Shah, are at the spa. And they getting their stuff done. And Jila Shah said, I'm not trying to say you don't need to be Sha and Pink's friend, but she said if you're gonna hang up in these circles, you're gonna have to get real with it. And something triggered off something she said. And Jila Shah was like, is Sha and Pink really dating Yishin? She said it don't even matter. And Sha Shi Lee started thinking about her boo Lee Zawan, the executive assistant, and she remembered he keeps saying this girl's name. And I'm like, she's already letting this girl get in her head. And the next thing is she's trying to call Sha and Ping. And he realized her phone is going off by the table where everything is, at the jury and all that. And so he goes to go find her. And he goes back to Sha and Ping in the dark looking for these pearls. And she looked up and she remembered when her and Shin was at in the canoe on the lake, and she was like, why does it feel different when it was me and Yishin or something like that? And he walked up behind her. He said, it's rude about talk about people behind their back. And she jumped up. She's like, how I was here? He's like, I guess. And she told him, he's like, I help you look for the jury. And they looking and looking and looking and looking. And I forgot to mention, this goes back to Lazi, the executive assistant, that when he had the gangster follow up to see what the brother-in-law, Ji Shisheng, I'm just calling him the brother-in-law, because remember that one of his, Ji Hao Ying's, one of his many girlfriends, the player, he had she was a nurse, and she was getting information about bombing Lee, the boss lady, to see what was, to see why she was going to the hospital. And I thought he was gonna stop it, the executive assistant, but no, he went to the same nurse. And I'm like, she is telling everybody's business. I want to know if she's gonna get fired, because you ain't supposed to be. That is personal stuff, Anyway, he got the stuff, and so it goes back to the executive assistant looking. He looks on the paper. It says she got a tumor, a malignant. I can't pronounce it. She got a tumor in her head. She got cancer. And so he's thinking like, So it goes back to Sha and Ping going into the hotel room, and she hears there's Jila Shah and Sha Shi Lee, her sister for life, just talking it up. And apparently Jila Shah was trying to give her some tips, and Sha and Ping was like, she don't need those tips. She's beautiful. And she's like, Jila Shah was like, I wasn't gonna waste them on you, or think of you in that higher standard. And so Sha Shi Lee, her sister for life, asked her, did she find the earrings? And she said no. And so she told Jala Shah will pay for it. And she said okay. And she got up and left. And you could tell Sha Shi Lee, I don't know what her problem was, but she started looking mad at Sha and Ping. And Sha and Ping was like, what did I do? And her sister for life, Sha Shi Lee, said, you always getting into something, always starting trouble. And Sha and Ping was like, I don't mean to. And she's like, I don't want to talk about it no more. She started laying down. And she was like, and Sha Ping was like, what? And she's like, I'm afraid you're gonna bring me down one day. Sure, okay, we don't need to be friends. I mean, I know they've been sisters for life, ever since they were little. But that's just, I can't believe she said that to Sha and Ping. So, was it the next day? I think it was after a meeting. The boss lady took some pills, and here comes the executive assistant walking in. He told her about the food court being reopened and stuff like that. He noticed the pill bottle right there in her purse, and she's like, yeah. And she said, Shashi Lee and Sean Ping on their way, and he was like, yeah. And so after they had a talk, they got out and left. And I can't remember who called first, but I think it might have been Shashi Lee. She called the executive assistant, and he's like, y'all back? And she said, yeah. And he was like, come over to my house for dinner. And man, sometimes it could be hard to remember. Oh yeah, he gets a call. The executive assistant gets a call from the gangster saying that the brother-in-law made his move. You know, Ji Sha Xing, the brother-in-law. Then like executive assistant. Whew. So it goes to the brother-in-law. The brother-in-law was looking at this stuff and like already starting. So he's like, oh, she got cancer. I mean, he was like, what, like, wow, like, he was just all kind of around talking about, ooh, I got all the board members and things, should I make a copy of this thing, she got cancer, and he had the maid, like, make stuff, to make some drinks and stuff. I mean, he was being, like, just, like, very happy that she's sick, and he hears the doorbell ring. He thought it was one of the board, assistants, and he opens the door, and who it is? It's the executive assistant. And he comes in and he was like, executive assistant basically told him like this straight up, you ain't about to do what you're going to do, because I'm going to show you what we're going to do. And he like pulled out this paper and said, bam, I changed it for what you had. And the brother like, what? And all that stuff, the executive assistant had it on point. He found every little thing, the back end stuff, the stuff that he was taking behind the back that people didn't know about, that the brother-in-law, all kinds of scams that the brother-in-law was doing. The executive assistant had it on that paper. And he was like, whoa. The brother-in-law was like, we should be working together. And he said, why are you doing all this if you just want power? And the executive assistant was like, if I just wanted power, would I be risking peeing you off? And, he was like, you don't need to tell anybody that, he said before that, he was like, everybody that you called to come over here, he said, I just said your name and I canceled this board meeting that you was going to have. And he just telling him, you're not going to tell everybody that the boss lady's sick. And he went on and he said he got a surprise for him come at the reopening. And so he leaves, and the brother's like, I ain't never paid attention to him. And this, what, like, what? And he's like, that's okay, we're going to see who's going to use who at the end. So, I think it might have went. Oh yeah, Shashi Lee and La Shaw was going somewhere in the mall, and you could see just Sean Ping walking slowly behind them, and she looked so sad. Oh, which I forgot. The next day when, because Sean Ping was feeling bad that Shashi Lee had her problems on her shoulders, and she went to go back out to the lake, and there was she and he was still looking, and she was like, how long you been out here? He said, I couldn't sleep that much, so I ain't been out here too long. And she gave him a hug, and he was like surprised, because he was on that, he was doing that yawning. And she just hugged him. He caught her by surprise. He started hugging her back, and she's like, Shashi Lee's really mad at me. And, he was just hugging her. Okay, so back to where I was going. She was walking, Sean Ping was walking behind them, and here comes Ji Shig. Ji Shig sees it all, and he can see like, oh, his boo ain't getting no love from his sister for life. And so he walks up and put his arms around her, just walking around till and she smiles at him, because during that hug she was like, at least I have you by my side. So then after that, I think he goes towards executive assistant. He was supposed to meet. He's making dinner for Shashi Lee, and I'm thinking his apartment walls are clear. She might as well when she was being nosy, because he was over at the kitchen fixing stuff, she might as well have got his personal stuff and went in front of him. Like, I don't even see how he didn't even notice that she was like right in his room looking through his stuff, and she sees his box, and in that box First she sees her scarf and that makes her smile. And then she sees this box with paper out of it, and she opened it and it's that drawing that Shy and Ping did. And she's like, why did she keep his? And he looked and see that picture, the picture of him and Yishin's sister. But I don't think she knows it's Yishin's sister. I don't know. And he was like, dinner's ready. And she hurried up and put it back. And she knocked off the watch on the ground. And it was odd. I mean, the watch could be really expensive. But he looked at her like, oh, no, you didn't just make my watch fall. And she put up, she's like, I'm sorry. And they're eating. And he noticed she's really not eating. She's like, it's good. He's like, why are you so unhappy? And she was like, who is Wazin? I think that's her name. I can't remember, but I think that's what it is. It's Yishin's sister. He's like, that's my sister. And she was like, but why do you be calling her out in your dreams? He's like, we already, we've been together, and, you don't trust me? And she's like, I just want to know. And he's get up, he's like, well, he said something, and she's like, I'm sorry. And she said, but I just want to know the truth. And he turned around, I'm telling y'all, he lost his freaking mind. He went off. He was like, my mama's dead, my daddy's dead, the company went dead, they dead. And I mean, he started crying, and he was like, shoot, everybody leaving me, you leave too. I mean, it was just woo. And she was crying, and it was like, oh, woo, the poor, woo. She was crying, and she was like, I'm sorry. And he opened up the door, and he was like, leave. I mean, he was just shouting. I'm like, oh my. And she looked back, and I mean, tears was dropping down her face. He didn't even look at her, and he shut the door. And I'm like, oh. And she took off and left, and he's behind the door, and he's like, I should make her leave like that. And he going and he's running, and she's already in the elevator, but she's too sad, sad looking down, so she don't see him looking at her. And he's going down, he sees she's going down, he's running down the elevator, and she's walking off crying, and he calls out her name, and she turns around, she sees him, and like, bam, and they hug. They hug. And I don't even know the conversation they went on with that. I don't even know. He was trying to say he was sorry, but she wouldn't accept his apology. So then it goes back to Shy and Ping. I forgot there was a time that she met. I don't even know where the scene was. It might have been after her seeing Sha Shi leave her sister for life, and Ji Lai Sha friendshipping it up. And her and Yishin went to the boss lady's office, and she's talking about despite them acting snobby and with the stuff they did at that party, she had nice stuff to say about Ji Lai Sha and Ji Hao Ying, the player. And she was like, and the boss lady's like, well, if you want to do, they study abroad, that's why that's just the basic for them, and that's how they know what to do. And she said, if you want to be able to do that stuff, our company offered money for that. So, you just have to work for it and apply for the application. And so, okay, so it went back to Shy and Ping. And, and during that time, I don't know why the boss lady wanted her to go down, but they was going down, and they met all the people at the food court. And that manager girl had on bows. She like flew right straight to Shy and Ping. That was too cute. Like, this tall grown man. I mean, okay, the manager, for real, the bow was like bam here, and it was bam here. But he went to Shy and Ping so fast, and Shy and Ping started laughing. But anyway, it's back to Shy and Ping at the table, at the table studying, and while she's studying, she's moving her pen or pencil. I don't know. She sees a bow on it, and she starts thinking of Yishin and how he's so scared of bows the first time they met. And she put it away, and she basically said, goodbye to the feelings I had for the executive assistant. And so she's down there, she's fixing singing, she's going, 1, 2, 3, 4. She's singing this little lullaby, and the boss lady was coming, because Sha and Ping is living with the boss lady and Sha Shi Li now. And she sees the boss lady, so she stops singing, and she's like, you want to fix something to eat? She said, no, I'll just have what you have. And she said, could you sing that song to me? And when she did, the boss lady had a flashback of her Sha and Ping's dad singing it to her when she was pregnant with Sha and Ping, and they was talking and about the regrets and stuff like that. And it was funny because Sean Pink's like, I bet my mom was superficial. And stuff like it. I'm like, girl, you just don't know that your mama that's sitting right in front of you. It's almost like she was confessing to Sean Pink about how she would like to have this stuff differently, you know. But she couldn't say, I was, my daughter. Because she actually said, that's my daughter. And that's when Sean Pink was like looking. She was like, no, I just mean, how Shashi leaves being in love. And you're more home, keeping me company. Anyway, so they started talking and everything. And, I think they start going to the opening. Or maybe Yishin. He was doing something, stopping on his bike, and he noticed that gangster dude getting look like some drugs. They took him to the passage. I don't know. I feel like it's broad daylight. I don't. You need to be more secretive for what you're gonna do. But I think it's the day of the reopening of the food court. And boss lady, poor her, she was really feeling the pain, and she was trying to take the medicine after everybody left. And here comes She Lee to come take her there. And she told the boss lady, told the executive assistant and the secretary, to go on ahead. And oh yeah, her brother-in-law first came in and was over contact. Basically, he was like taunting her. He didn't exactly let her know that he knew that she had cancer, but he started mentioning about her health and talking about how you don't have no kids. And she's like, yes, I do. I got She Lee. And that's when She Lee came in, and then she was like, I'll see you at the reopening. And that's when she told the secretary to leave, and then she told the executive assistant to leave, and the secretary to take her bag. And which I thought was funny because, the executive assistant was looking at him. So she gets there, and I'm like, ooh, you could tell she is in pain. Yishin and Pyong is there, and so is the brother-in-law, Ji La Sha, and Ji Haoying, the player, is all there. And she slowly makes it up there, and she says what she got to say, the boss lady, and she passes out right in front of all the cameras and everything, and Yishin takes her away. And then when she does a brother-in-law looked up at the executive assistant, and the executive assistant just went, y'all, the reason why she passed out, the executive assistant, when he said that was his freaking gift. This dude had got the gangster to get the drugs, and he switched them out and switched out her medicine for them drugs. So she was thinking she was taking medicine, and she was not. He had the drug. This dude is so freaking all like, whew. It's like mad, like this dude is so wrong. Laughter. I mean, this executive assistant is so freaking dirty. It's not even funny. Like, he is just like so wrong. And so, they get out. They get to the hospital, and it seems like everything is fine. And then it goes back to and the doctor asked Yishin to bring the bottle that the medicine that she was taking. And it goes back to the executive assistant in the bathroom with the gangster. He was like, here, take your medicine, I'll switch you back. He's like, why are you doing all that? He's like, dude, I don't want to get caught. He just said he didn't want to get caught. It wasn't the gangster dude trying to throw it in the trash can in the bathroom. He grabbed his head. It was like, didn't I just say I didn't want to get caught? And he gave him the money. And he said, he said, why are you doing this and making it all so complicated, And he was like, well, I'm just trying to scare the boss lady to show her, to scare her a little. And he was like, since she's going to be sick, I can, I don't know, guess get on her good side or something like that, and then quietly marry her daughter or something like that. He wants to marry Shashi Lee. And then he goes back to the Xiaoping and Shashi Lee's in the room, and the second assistant had called Shashi Lee, and so she was over there by the window, and that's when the boss lady kind of woke up, and she held on to Sean Pink's hand, and Shashi Lee, her sister Fluff, got off the phone. She saw it, and she's like pulled their hands away. I mean, it was just I don't know. I don't know. I just felt like it was. I feel like it would. it's not Shashi Lee's attention, but it felt like Shashi Lee was like tearing them apart. That's how that scene was. I mean, it's kind of like she had a force. Um, she had a force Shine Ping's and the boss lady's hand apart, and she's like, "I'll take care of mom. You go back to the reopening." And so she did, and so Shashi Lee is just talking to her, and then I think the next day or something like that, the doctor's like, "You need to stay in the hospital for a couple of days," and she's like, "No," and then she tells um, Shashi Lee, "I'm gonna be coming home the next day," and she said, "Go ahead and make me dinner." And they made Shashi Lee happy because she always wanted to make dinner for the boss lady or whatever. She just wanted to cook for the boss lady. I know that much. And this was another time, and during that time, or was it after? I don't even say. I can't even remember how it ended. How did it end? Was that the ending? I don't. Man, I forgot. Lost my train of thought. Okay, before I finish it, after okay, just pausing for a minute on Charlene going to fix dinner. There was a time when Sean Ping was like going off to work, and here comes the player, Ji Hao Yi, and he's like, "I'll take you to work," and she was like, "No, I'll ride my moped," and she takes off, and then it goes back to a flashback. And apparently, remember the time that the player, he split his pants after that horse race? Sean Ping sewn it up, and he was like, "Sure, I didn't know she was this cute." And so sewn it up. I don't know if that's when he's like, fell for Sean Ping. And he got out, and then he like ran his car in front of her moped like he didn't have no sense. And then he was like, "Here, take this cell phone." And she's like, "I don't want it." And he was like, "Blah blah blah, I didn't want it. It's gonna be, nobody wanted it. Here, you take it." And then he got in his car, and he noticed that Sean Ping kept it. He's like, "Good, she didn't throw it away." And he drove off. And when she got to work, she was trying to get her moped in. Who would it be? And it was his executive assistant. And he was like, "Where's your bow?" Which reminds me, the day of the reception, Yishin asked the same thing, and she was like, "Ain't you scared of both?" And that made him smile. She, I mean, she was thinking of him anyway. And I guess I didn't know, but I guess the executive assistant made it give her that bow. I don't know, because when back to she put her moped in. He was like, "Where's your little ball? I ain't seen it." And she was like, "Oh, I must have broke it." But she didn't. She was stuck in her book bag. He's like, "I'll get you another one." She's like, "No, if you're going to get it for Shashi Lee. She's pretty." He was about to squeak her nose, and she like backed up. And you could tell that their relationship was kind of different. He was like, "Even though I'm with Shashi Lee, we still could be friends, right?" And she's like, "Yeah." And she took off and go to work. And anyway, then back to... Sorry for the confusion. Stuff got so different. So hopefully this is all correct. Shashi Lee went off to go fix dinner, and here comes Yishin into the hospital. And before that, the doctor's like, "Can you trust him?" She's like, "Yeah." And she said, and when Yishin came in, he was like, "Look, you got drugs." And it was like, it was a banned drug. They said banned substance, banned drug. And it was like, "What?" And Yishin said he in his eyes went, because he remembers he saw that gangster, and he saw him with that stuff, and he was like, "Somebody drugged you." And I think that's the way it ended. It was a good episode. And yeah, that's it.